Fast facts. Official name.
Republic of Tunisia.
Size.
163,610 square kilometers, 63,170 square miles, slightly larger than Georgia.
Population.
11,721,177. July 2020 estimate.
Official language.
Arabic.
Location.
Northern Africa.
Capital.
Tunis.
Climate.
Mild, rainy winters and hot, dry summers in the north. Desert in the south.
Currency.
Tunisian dinar.
Products.
Grain, olives, citrus fruits, dates, almonds. Petroleum, phosphate, iron ore. Did you know?
Couscous, a tiny wheat pasta, is the national dish.
The seaside town of Sidi Bou Said is known for its crafts, especially fancy wood and metal bird cages.
Several scenes in the Star Wars movies were filmed in Tunisia. Luke Skywalker's igloo is in Tozeur.
Folktale. The Amazing Akarak. In this tale, a tailor tricks his way into great power.
Akarak, the town tailor, was a small man. He was also very clever. One day, 7 flies landed on his bread and jam. With one swipe, he killed them all. He hadn't known his own strength. He was so proud of himself that he sewed a banner that declared, "I can kill 7 beasts with one blow." With his lunch ruined, Akarak cut a piece of cheese and put it in his pocket to eat later. A hungry bird flew into his pocket. Akarak patted the bird and went for a walk. Along the way, he ran into a grumpy ghoul, who challenged him to a stone-throwing contest. The ghoul threw a rock far into the distance. Akarak reached into his pocket, grabbed the bird, and tossed it into the air. The bird flew for miles and miles. Wanting to prove his strength, the ghoul then suggested a stone-squeezing contest. Again, Akarak reached into his pocket. This time, he pulled out the cheese. With just a slight squeeze, he crushed it into many pieces. The ghoul was amazed and afraid of Akarak. He told the town about Akarak's superhuman strength. When the old king heard that even ghouls feared Akarak, he hired the tailor as a bodyguard. Akarak had one more trick up his sleeve. The king's will listed his last wishes. He wanted his son to take over the throne. Akarak found the will, erased the prince's name, and wrote in his own name. When Akarak became king, he marveled at how his path to power began, with just 7 small flies.
In the news.
A call for democracy. In 2011, events in Tunisia set off protests across the Middle East. Today, the country is working to maintain the freedoms won in that struggle.
In December 2010, anti-government protests spread through Tunisia. They were sparked by the suicide of Mohamed Bouazizi, a young street vendor. He had been mistreated by police even though he had broken no rules. But protesters were responding to more than one event. Unemployment was widespread. The government, led by President Zain al-Abidine Ben Ali, seemed not to care about average Tunisians. Ben Ali had been in power for more than 20 years. He and his family and friends had used their power to enrich themselves. But citizens saw none of that wealth. They were very offended by the unfairness, Linda Bishai told TFK. She is the director of North African programs at the United States Institute of Peace. The protests inspired similar events in more than a dozen countries in the region. Leaders were driven from power and even killed. This upheaval became known as the Arab Spring. In some countries, the protests grew into violent conflicts. Syria's uprising became a civil war. Wars also broke out in Sudan, Iraq, and Libya. Tunisia's story is different. Ben Ali left the country in January 2011. Less than a year after the protests began, Tunisia held its first free elections in decades. It successfully shifted to a democratic government. Bishai says that's partly because of Tunisians' pride in their national identity. They're very proud of their culture and their history, she says. Tunisia still faces challenges. Its economy is struggling. Terrorist attacks have shaken the nation. Tunisians need to see more signs of things getting better, Bishai says. Still, in a region full of failed revolutions, Tunisia's democracy is seen as progress.